after watching this, which not after really watching it because we already knew all this, but really after seeing this interview, the Diablo 4 developer interview with Rax, I know Rob did one as well. Y'all, Diablo 4 is never going to get better. And I got the evidence. I'll show you why. But especially after listening to this, it just ain't. But anyway, I want to touch on this interview, what I thought about it, dive into some of the stuff that they said that was just like alarming to me, and why it's never going to get better. Come on, you piece of junk. How about y'all? You got Hawg. Thanks for stopping by. This game is like, it's like take the final nail and put it in the coffin, right? This whole interview was the second they turned the cameras on and we saw the hoods, I was like, oh, Jesus. Which is the same reaction that I get to some of these new video game prices that are coming out today, which is exactly why you should hear a word from today's sponsor. Before we get into today's content, a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Instant Gaming. If you're looking to grab the hot new games like Arc Raiders, Instant Gaming has it for $34.67. That's 25% off. They also have other hot new games like Europa Universalis, a $70 game priced at $52.70, a savings of nearly 24%. That's a really great value, y'all. I have used Instant Gaming a few times. Their delivery is, in fact, instant. No waiting for keys. Get them in seconds. Check the link in the description below. Big shout out to them for sponsoring this video. And now, back at it. All right, I love y'all. Going into this interview, I really didn't know what to expect. I had one question I wanted to ask, and that was about the skill twig. And he asked it, which was awesome. And the guy on the left up there, Colin, I guess his name is. I don't know which one is which. Either way, he said, oh, they were self-aware. They knew. He said, Rex, what do they call it? They call it the skill twig. But then they shut it down quick. They started saying things like NDA. I guess Adam Fletcher or somebody was in the chat saying NDA, we can't talk about it. No, can't talk about the twig. And then the other things that were prevalent throughout the whole interview were like just how out of touch they were. Like they'd say things like, we need to bring you up to the highest of highs and then take you to the lowest of lows to get a dopamine hit. And that just wasn't, to me, that didn't make any damn sense. I mean, you can go fishing all day and have a, normal, neutral day and then catch some fish and you have some peaks and come back down to neutral, but you don't have to go fishing, blow your motor up, sink your boat, be in the lowest, everything sucks. And then you catch a fish and it brings up, like, none of that made any sense. And something else that didn't make any sense was sexy was used a lot. And he did it in the Rob interview a lot. Sexy, we want real sexy things. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We were talking about adding mechanics to the game, like extra shit to do. It was almost like there was a disconnect between them understanding what we were saying and whatever they were trying to portray. Like perfect example, it wasn't in Rax's interview, but it was in Rob's interview when Rob pointed out, hey, when you increase the torment level, the XP gain doesn't increase as well. So you end up doing harder content, but you're not getting more experience. You should be getting a little bit more experience as per every other game. And instead of them understanding that and going, oh yeah, we should look into that, they went into this wild tangent about their design philosophy. Again, the high highs and the low lows. And it just was a bunch of hodgepodge of nothing is what it was. They would say things like, solar self-found's coming, confirmed and all this. But then later on in the interview, they would say, we're looking into avenues, like solar self-found. So it gave me, are things that are on the horizon, like solar self-found. It was like things that wording it didn't make me think very much was coming, which we already knew that, right? We didn't play Diablo 4 forever, but I still try to keep up with it and see if they're ever going to try to fix it, and they're not. Another thing they were Rax asked, which all the BBPs, all the belly button pickers, which this guy right here actually made this post on Reddit before the tough questions were got to the Q&A session. Rax was very clear. I mean, not to like suck the guy's ass or anything, but he was very clear about he's going to talk about season 11, and then they're going to do the hard questions after the talk about season 11. So that's pretty much what happened. Rax asked them when the game is fixed, because a lot of the points that were brought up where they kept saying they're in a iterative studio and they just, they got to fix stuff that's going on first before they can do other stuff. And so Rax said, okay, well, so let's say that, the game is fixed. It's bug free. It's in a great place balance wise. Like all of this is happening. Like, do we get new content? And they just dodged that, would not answer that at all. They said, we always think there's something to be worked on. So if you're sitting there thinking that you're going to get new content, you can wish in one hand and shit in the other to see which fills up faster. And I found some old stuff that I'm going to dig up to show you that we're just being kind of hamstrung along with this whole thing. So, flashbang warning. This is season 2 interview with Rod Ferguson. Okay? Where they talk about the shop and then this other thing. What I love about being part of a live service is that it allows you to iterate. We hear this nonstop, okay? So it's not like a one and done, so much like we're seeing with the loot, so much like we're seeing with our systems. So whether it be the battle pass or season journey or the shop, it's that we can continue to evolve those over time. And so just because it's not here today doesn't mean it's not going to get improved and looked at in the future. It's always something we're talking about. So basically, this is the same shit that we heard in this interview. They're not going to bring anything new. They're going to continue to look at and improve the current stuff that they've got in the game, improve, and then look at, how do you say that? Iterate, which is reuse, which is what they're doing with capstone dungeons and leaderboards. We've already had leaderboards in the game. Was it season 6, something like that? There were leaderboards. They took them away. They said they'd be back, and now they're back. Oh, look, we put leaderboards in the game. No, you didn't. It's already been in. Is this a permanent thing? That's the big question. Is it permanent? Probably not. Maybe. That's what they said last time. It was going to be permanent. Same thing with Capstone Dungeon. Capstone Dungeon was part of the game on release. They took it away, and then they bring it back. Ta-da! Made some minor changes. We were told by Adam Fletcher on X that the game was undergoing massive changes, and then the loudest in the community were being heard, and they were listening to us. And this is what we get so far? This. Okay. Anyway, another reason I bring up this Rod Ferguson interview. Okay, so here's another reason why we're never going to get any more content, because the engine's maxed the fuck out. That's why. So here's a quote. You'll see that in season 4 when you look at PTR, the new Helltide. Giant worms coming up, spitting monsters at you, gaining a threat level. We could have this sort of larger ambush. We were trying to, have a pace to the combat before, and I think that we're recognizing over the seasons with player feedback is people want to turn that dial, obviously, higher. Well, we want more content too. It's just not something that is easily done. Every extra monster you're putting on screen is something that's eating at the performance and the memory and those sorts of things. So we have to kind of come at it systematically and go, okay, we want to increase density 10%. We have to go and optimize the engine and go optimize the art to get there, and then try to find smart ways to do that. So what you're seeing through the seasons, you've seen the density get more and more. And that's because they've had to go in and optimize, which is why the art looks shittier than it did when it first released. If you've noticed that, it looks a little more toonier. That's why, because the engine's maxed out. So if you think that we're going to get anything extra, I think the engine is just, I don't know what else to assume based on this feedback or this statement from Rod Ferguson, but the engine's maxed the fuck out. So, another thing is, again, they just like to say they reuse things. This is especially in the Rod interview. Rod said, why don't you, this is a really good point. Rob said, the reason that the players keep saying that this is a reused or repainted, reskinned asset in the pit to the tower is because it has the same entryway. You should probably give it its own storyline, not its own storyline, but its own like focal point. There's so many unused assets in the game. Why don't you basically just make it be over here, be the pit? It's awesome. Everybody go to the pit instead of have the same place that you click on to open up the pit and the tower at the same time. And they gave a bunch of bullshit about that. The biggest primary bullshit answer that stood out was they did that out of convenience. It was convenient for them to do that. And so instead of making something cool for the game and having something that, people would want to interact with, it's just lazy fucking development. It'd be a hell of a lot easier. I said, we'll just do it that way. It's easy. They also talked in the Rax interview about implementation of systems. Like Rax asked about how many teammates work on Diablo IV. This is a very alarming response that they gave. They wouldn't talk about numbers, naturally. They never do because they're scared to tell us how bad they're doing. But they said they had a new back-end system in place and all that would help the workflow. Well, let me show you what the new back-end system is. Remember this back in 2023? Blizzard says the new AI concept art tool represents major evolution, and that they developed their own internal AI to help with the art based on the Diablo and the World of Warcraft stuff. Well, if I was a betting man, I'd be willing to say they've got some more stuff going on behind the scenes, especially now that Microsoft is part of the family and Fortified Team's AI Optimus workflows. And right here, according to the New York Times, Blizzard deployed its own internal AI tool, warning employees not to use the third-party AI platforms to prevent the leak of confidential company data and IP. Okay, so it's not going to change. It's a farm for money. They've got the base game. They're tweaking numbers behind the scenes. They're reusing things that they had in previous season as new changes. One of the biggest things too is the arrogance coming off of it. Like one of the questions was, okay, there's a lot of players that feel like we kind of got gypped with the last expansion. It was a character, super OP character, and we fought Mephisto's dog. Like, what do you say to those players that are kind of hesitant to buy the expansion, the next one that you guys are going to come out with? Excuse me. What do you say to them? Do you think the expansion is going to be good for the game, or like, And so the guy on the right was just like, yeah, I mean, be good for the game. I mean, what do you want me to say? Not like, oh, we've got great things coming. It's going to be super sick. That's the associate game director now. No, nothing. None of that. Nothing. Oh, we got big changes coming. You're going to see some really cool stuff. It was just literally like fuck you. Okay. So it's probably the last two, maybe one or two things I'll touch on. I'm going to get off. Big thing was watching the other, like if you watch Last Epoch dev stream, or if you watch a PoE2 dev stream, even a No Rest for the Wicked dev stream, like they can all talk game development. But these guys, they're a controlled PR crystal shell or some shit. They can't talk about any hypotheticals. Like if you go to LE Friday stream with Mike and go over there and talk about, stuff in the game, he'll go off on a hypothetical. He'll say, no, this is hypothetical. We're just talking about like stuff that would be cool. They just go off on a tangent about stuff. These guys didn't. They had opportunity to do that with skill tree and stuff like that, but they didn't. They got all that shit was shut down immediately. The only kind of dev philosophy that you heard about was the high highs and the low lows. Just didn't make any sense. And then another big one that was pointed out was not was pointed out that hit me was one of the guys asked Rax if he was doing a what's the name of that? If he was doing a tower, and the person above him had like a mythic unique that was better than his, or like he didn't have a mythic unique and that guy did, would he be mad about that? And Rax was like, no, I'd be trying to find the item and do like that. That right there, that question was such a huge red flag. Like, okay, you have no idea what you're doing. You don't know about ARPG. Like you're not mad. Like, fuck Diablo. This guy's got a better item than me. Like, it's not communist Diablo. Like not everybody should have the same items. Like, it's part of ARPG is finding and making items, making your build better and pushing higher stuff. Like, I feel like that's completely lost when you're asking questions like that. Oh, and then kind of the final thing, the backgrounds, you notice they're blurred. That's directly because of Frosty. I guarantee you there was an internal memo from Blizzard after Frosty picked on old Adam with his damn paper towel roll. I guarantee you they said, no more. Make sure you blur your background. Frosty LaRue's making fun of everybody. Looks bad for us. It's just, I don't know, man. Looking at Last Epoch or looking at Path to Exile series, there's just, I don't know, it overall doesn't feel like lame to be playing that game. Like, this just feels lame over here. Like, nothing's cool. There's no competition. If you feel like they're talking about giving out 12 skill points and like they're having to make arguments about that. Like they're going back in and fixing the base game again. And we were talking about doors and stuff. And like, what else was ridiculous? Like, they're just so scared to do anything at all. And they think that if you get a bad roll in the game, that, or bad roll, or if you brick an item or something, that the players say, fuck Blizzard. And that was another big one. It's like, I said this like 2 years ago, y'all are going to create a player base that is going to be ridiculous. And it's pretty much where it's at now. Like everybody that plays PoE2, PoE, like we all know, like you're going to brick items. We all know that shit's not going to drop for you. I mean, perfect example. I got a Forbidden Flame that fucking dropped for me last night. We were playing my Scion. I killed, what was it, the Eater, whoever the fuck it was. I killed him. He dropped a Forbidden Flame or Forbidden Flesh, whatever the name of the goddamn thing is. It was for Witch. It was 130 fucking divs. Hell yeah. You think I sold it for that? Fuck no, because the second I put it up on the currency exchange, guess what? People started undercutting it and undercutting it and undercutting it and undercutting it. So then I went to bed and I woke up and I came out here and it still hadn't sold. So I dropped it down to 50 div. Fuck y'all. And then it sold. But that's not GGG's fault. That's not fuck PoE. That's just how it is. But see, that's the mentality that these guys have, is that their player base says fuck Blizzard. And see, if you had not pissed all of us off and listened to us and stopped bullshitting us and actually add on to the game, or upgrade your engine or invest it or whatever, then a lot of the more forgiving players understand how ARPG works that would play your game, and you wouldn't get that kind of feedback all the time. But that's y'all's bed and you got to lay in it now. But y'all, excuse me, I guess I'm losing my voice. It's never going to be changed. Diablo 4 is cooked. It's going to be the same game over and over. They're going to keep reworking stuff. Like when Rax asked if there was new content ever coming, they're like, oh, there's always stuff to be worked on. Like they're never going to give you anything new. It's just, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get powers because it's safe for them. The people that play the game like it. And we heard back in season 2, I just showed y'all from Rod, that it's a iterative studio, however the fuck you say that word. And we can just keep working on stuff. And that's literally what we heard again, season 11. We just keep getting to work on stuff. It's cool. So there you go. If you like Diablo 4, that's fine. But for those that don't, that's what the interview was. It's still more horseshit. Nothing's ever going to happen. It's cooked. Yeah. Either way, back to PoE. I'm playing a Scion, Auto Bomber, Herald of Thunder. Now we just got 50 divs. So we're probably going to spend that tonight. So come join me on the stream. Anyway, appreciate y'all. See you next time.